is your librarian, Mrs. Johnson. Thanks for joining me. This week, we are going to hear stories about a very special theme, the library. Your library misses you. I miss you. I hope you've been reading. Today, I'm going to read you a story that fits this theme just right. Today's story is called Dewey, There's a Cat in the Library. It's written by Vicki, Myron, and Bret Witter, and illustrated by Steve James. Every night, people left books in the return box of the library in the small town of Spencer, Iowa. Funny books, big books, truck books, pig books. They left them all. But one night, on the coldest night of the year, someone left a strange surprise, a tiny kitten. When Vicki the librarian found him the next morning, the kitten was cold and scared and very, very dirty. Vicki took one look and decided to give him a warm bath. The kitten went into the sink, brown and crying, but he came out orange and purring. "I'm going to keep you," Vicki said, who already loved him. "We'll name you Dewey Read More Books, and you can live here and be our library cat." But Dewey had no idea what it meant to be a library cat. So he did what all kittens do. He played. He lounged on the newspaper, he rode on the book cart, and he knocked pens to the floor. He goofed around with Marty Mouse, that's his toy. He snooped in every open drawer, and he always found at least one rubber band. But what Dewey loved most of all was people. Tall ones, round ones, quiet ones, loud ones. The little ones, however, surprised him, and not always in a good way. "Look, Nathan," said his mommy, "there's a cat in the library." Nathan bent down and said, "Hi-ho, Dewey Yooks." "No," said his sister Hannah, "it's Dewey Read More Books." Dewey squirmed. The boy was petting him in the wrong direction. Dewey loved to be petted, but he hated being petted in the wrong direction. You can see his fur's getting all messed up. Dewey was licking his fur back into place when he heard a strange noise. "Wah!" Dewey's ears perked up. He looked around. "Wah! Wah!" Dewey sprang to attention, and he crept really slowly towards the sound. Surprise! The little people, Dewey discovered, came in tiny sizes too. And they loved to giggle and grab and pull and coo. Babies are wonderful, Dewey thought. Cute and smell-o-licious too. A few days later, Dewey went exploring and discovered, in a secret room, the most exciting thing he had ever seen. Children's Story Hour. "Wowsy whiskers, this looks fun," Dewey thought, as he pushed into the room with his nose. And then someone shouted, "There's a cat in the library!" Dewey froze. It was quiet for 1 minute, and then everything went wild. And the next thing Dewey knew, he was being carried upside down. "Oh my," Dewey thought. "What should I do now?" Let me get a close-up. Later that night, Dewey talked to his friend Marty Mouse. "The library is a wonderful place," Dewey said, "but I'm tired of being pulled and poked and carried upside down. I'm not just a cat in a library, I'm a library cat. A library cat helps people, I think. And I am 92% convinced that that's the reason I'm around." Marty Mouse didn't say anything. "I'm gonna do it," Dewey said. "I'm gonna help people." And he left so happy, he felt so happy, that he threw Marty Mouse into the air, he kicked him with his hind legs, and then slept on him like a pillow. The next morning, when the first people arrived, Dewey was waiting to greet them right by the front door. All morning, Dewey acted like a library cat. He read with the mommies and the grandmas. He helped the daddies at work. He even shelved books with the library clerk. And when he saw Nathan, he turned a circle and a half so that the boy could pet his back from his head down to his tail. The right way to pet a cat. I'm glad we're friends, Dewey Louie, Nathan said, and Dewey smiled at that. By lunchtime, Dewey was worn out, so he found a good box. First, he put his front paws inside, and then his belly. He squished his back end down, wiggled around until he was all the way in, and closed his eyes. There's an orange muffin in the library, a girl giggled. I don't know what it is about cats, but they love boxes. Do you have a cat? Does it love a box? But just as Dewey was about to drift off into sweet kitten dreams, he heard a heavy sigh. His eyes popped open and he saw a girl on the other side of the library. A sad little girl, reading quietly all by herself. He climbed up close and stared at her, but she just looked away. He sniffed her hands. She didn't want to play. He knocked her mittens to the floor, but she just let them stay. And then he saw her jacket, and he had his best idea yet. Silly always works. I'll be a silly cat today. The girl stared at Dewey. You look like a fuzzy hot dog in a purple bun, she said, and then she surprised him. She laughed right out loud. I love you, Dewey. Read more books, the girl whispered as Dewey nestled into her lap and began to purr. This is it, Dewey thought. I'm a real library cat, and it feels great. No, it feels better than great. It felt perfect. The end. Thanks for listening. I have a really cool thing to tell you. Dewey, that's kind of a weird name for a cat, right? Well, actually, not for a library cat. Dewey is a name of a really important man, Melville Dewey. Sometimes I just call him Mr. Dewey. And he invented something very important for libraries, a special system to help us keep them organized. He is so important that I think if I found a cat in the book drop, it might be worthy of that name, Dewey. Cool. And here's another cool thing about this story. Dewey is actually a real cat. There he is. Yeah, this is based on a true story. There actually is a librarian named Vicki, and she really did find a cat in a book drop. Can you see him? And she named him Dewey, and she made him the library cat. Pretty cool. Cool story. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed today's story. Please come by again and don't forget to just subscribe to our special channel, I Lost My Library Book. See you next time, friends.